Do you know what I think it is actually? Thinking about that last video that I just posted, there is a lot of people who think that Islamic culture and Christian culture is the same. But I'm guessing the reason why they think this is because maybe they have been to Dubai or something. Maybe they have been to Islamic countries, only they might be the Islamic countries that work. To be honest, I don't actually know which Islamic countries work and which don't. Why? Because I've been off-putted by going to Islamic countries because I know that I don't have a male, I don't have a partner, and I do not want to go to a country where I'm only going to be safe if I walk around with a male, nor am I ever going to be walking around streets where forced to wear those ridiculous veils. So if you have a country that forces women to cover up in to look like some sort of black Teletubby, I am not going to be dressing like that. You are not welcoming into my country. You have done a law that would make me not want to visit your country. And because I haven't visited your country, I can't say nice things about it because I've never been there. You know, I've always tried to, over the last 10 years, try to avoid this subject because I've never been there. But just because I'm avoiding the subject, that doesn't mean that I don't have things that I want to say about it. I can't talk about it if I don't know about it. Now, I know that there are a lot of people have told me that Dubai is a lovely place. I also feel like I've had this strange memory of Dubai actually recruiting a lot of builders from Europe or maybe England as well, and they've got invited a lot of architects in. I feel like I had when I was doing my architect degree actually. I have this mild memory of saying that Dubai was taking a lot of architects from, because I did actually interior design decoration. It wasn't architecture, but there was an architect's week that I did where I worked in an architect's place for like work experience. And I don't know where, it might have been somewhere like that, but I feel like I have a vague memory of them saying that they actually were hiring a lot of architects from European countries to go to Dubai and to build. So I don't even know where they got why it looks so good, because there are some really complex buildings in Dubai that are very hard to make, very challenging, and with there being a lot of sand, you know, I feel like the base has to be very, very strong. But you've obviously done a lot of calculations because things haven't been falling apart, or at least I've not heard anything on the news about it being falling apart. But you know, when it comes to Islamic countries, there might be places that work and there might be places that are nice, and I have not been to these places. I've been to Tunisia, Egypt, Egypt 3 times, Tunisia I think 3 times, and Turkey once, and Morocco when I was 16. So I have been to some places, but I can't comment on all the other places. Now, if there are a lot of people that have been to Dubai and been very impressed, or if they've been to other countries that seem to work, you know, I can't insult something if I've not really seen it. But the reason why I wouldn't go and see it is because I don't want to go to a country where I'm forced to veil up or cover up, and I don't want to go to a country where that has this strong belief that you are only safe as a woman if you walk around with a man. I don't have a man, so I can't go to these countries. I'm not welcome in these countries, and I wouldn't feel safe in these countries if I knew that I could only be safe if I was walking around with a man, because I'd be like, what? So if this guy walks away, what, these people are just going to attack me or something? You know, if I had that belief that without this person standing next to me, these guys around me are just going to mob me or something, you know, I wouldn't want to be around these people, because I would see these people as being vile, horrible people. And if this is your culture, you know, the belief that a woman is only safe whilst walking around with a man, you know, if this is your culture, what kind of thing is your culture going to inspire? It's going to inspire men who see women on their own to see them as a type of, you know, predatory act towards them. If you have this belief that women are only safe if they're with a man, then any woman that walks around without a man, it's almost like that belief is going to inspire sick thoughts inside the minds of the men that walk around. And if they come across a woman that's on her own, you know, they are going to think, oh, let's attack her, she's on her own. And this kind of mindset is a sickness inside people. And if this is part of your culture, then basically you are having sickness inside you. And I think if there's a lot of people that come to this culture or come to this place and see something working, or see nice areas, see nice buildings, you know, I think they're going to start believing, oh, this is a nice culture. You know, why would you think that Islamic culture is nice? You know, maybe it's because you've gone to Dubai and you've seen some nice things. If you're a woman, you would probably have to be veiled up, so you might start realizing that actually, is this really nice if the only reason why I'm safe is because I'm dressed like this? I don't see that as nice. I don't see that as beautiful. I see that as hypocritical, because you're dressing in such an ugly way because this is what it takes to stop the people from around you from attacking you. Now I just see that as vicious and savage, and I can't like that. But I've not been to these countries. If I had gone to these countries, I feel like I would only be putting poison inside of me, because I'd probably be looking around at the people, and I would either be hating it, or I would be forcing myself to like it and see it as normal, when in reality I'd only be poisoning my brain into thinking that it's fine to think that a woman that doesn't have a man next to them is going to probably be attacked, and this is just normal. It shouldn't be normal. And I think if you have a lot of Islamic people coming into Europe and into England, they're going to come with their sort of their beliefs, and this is Islamic beliefs are wrong, but I can't insult Islamic countries because I know a lot of Islamic countries don't follow Islamic beliefs. The fact that an 18-year-old was put in prison for having sex with a 17-year-old proves it's a thing that shouldn't have happened, because I don't think that an 18-year-old having sex with a 17-year-old is something that should justify going to prison over. I do not believe that. But at the same time, it kind of proves that it is illegal to have sex with 17-year-olds in this country. If someone's an 18-year-old, they're basically a 17-year-old themselves. So I don't understand the logic of that. But yeah, there's all sorts of people in England and America that think it's fine for an 18-year-old to go to prison over something like that, which is crazy. It's crazy. But I thought that Muhammad married a child, so if that's the case, then how can you put how can an 18-year-old go to prison for having consensual sex with a 17-year-old if Muhammad was a 50-year-old who had sex with a 9-year-old? That to me proves that these countries aren't following Islamic law, and therefore maybe this is the reason why people see Islamic culture as being something that could be nice, because they're going to Islamic countries and they're seeing nice things, but maybe they're only nice because they are actually following non-Islamic laws whilst calling themselves Islamic. So the problem is Islam, and the problem is the beliefs that lie within Islam. Now, the more Islamic a country becomes, the more problems are going to be formed because of these Islamic beliefs. But if there are Islamic countries that are calling themselves Islamic but don't actually follow Islamic beliefs, then I feel like you get like a contradiction, because you can think, wow, Dubai is lovely, and you're not like associating it with the truth about what Islam is and the roots of Islam. Now, if Dubai stopped calling themselves an Islamic country, I don't know what would happen, because the people that love Islam and have been brainwashed into believing that Islam is beautiful, might start getting angry over it. I don't know, because I've never been to these countries, so I can't say. But yeah, I think a lot of people are confusing non-Islamic beliefs with Islamic beliefs, and they're seeing things that work, and maybe they're just ignoring the fact that the only reason why they work is because they're not following Islamic beliefs, and yeah, and yeah, I can't comment on it because I don't really know. I've never been to Saudi Arabia or Iraq or Iran, or I've never been to any of these countries, so I can't comment. But having a lot of these people come in to our country who are Islamic, they're gonna make friends with people, and people are gonna start being like, oh, I like Islamic culture. Why? Because I like this person, and I like this person, and I like this person, and these are all Islamic people. Do you actually know them? Do you actually realize that these people might have backwards views? And then the other question is, do they actually have backwards views, or do they just like wearing the veils because they've been brainwashed into it and they don't actually know? Like, I would love there to be more tests to just find out, list all the extremist views and ask them, do you think this is extreme? Do you think it's an extreme to think that a woman should only walk around with, they'll probably say, well, it's for their own safety. A woman needs to walk around with a man because it's for her own safety. And then you could ask, well, does that not mean that people in the country are dangerous, and they'll probably be like, oh well, people in England are dangerous too. I know, but we're not getting attacked for not having a man next to us. So their extremist view has made women even more safe, because if they see a woman without a man, they might think that's a reason to attack them, and they can put the blame on them for not having a man next to us. But because we don't have these sick beliefs, if someone attacks us for not having a man, they can't say that this is their fault. They can't try and turn the backwards laws on the women and start using it as an excuse to attack women. And that's the thing with Islamic laws. Islamic laws are backwards and wrong and disgusting, and it allows men to just do whatever they want and use their Islamic beliefs as a way of justifying it. And it's because they can do that there is more crime in Islamic countries, because they can use their religion to justify crime and justify hurting people because they didn't follow the Islamic laws. And therefore Islam is actually a poison. It's a poison in every single country, including the Islamic countries. And it's a poison that people love, because criminals want to be criminals, and if they can use their religion to justify their crimes, then that's what they'll do. So Islam is a poison. And if you start thinking that Islam and Islamic culture is beautiful, it's probably only because you've been to the countries that maybe work, and maybe the only reason why they work is because they don't follow Islamic laws, but they've just convinced or tricked their people into believing that they do, when maybe they don't. But yeah, Islamic laws are not based on human rights or doing what's fair or logical or anything like this. And a lot of Islamic views are extremist views that actually just encourage crime and encourage blame. It encourages victims to be blamed for the perpetrator's mistakes because of Islamic views, and therefore I think people need to stop just seeing maybe an Islamic garden. I don't know, if you saw a beautiful Islamic garden, you might think, oh, Islam is beautiful. But it's like, yeah, well, that's just a garden. That's not Islamic views, because Islam doesn't actually talk about gardening, and I don't know if there's anything about the importance of gardening in Islamic views. But yeah, to look at a nice Islamic view or a nice Islamic house, I don't know if the Jasmine Princess is, I don't know if that's Islamic or not. But if the Jasmine Princess castle is seen as being Islamic, then maybe people would look at the castle and think, wow, that's beautiful. But in reality, it's just like, but that's just a building. It's got nothing to do with Islam, does it? Like, Islam is a set of beliefs, and this is just a castle. This is just a house. So, when I think of beauty, I think of nature. I think of nice gardens with beautiful flowers and a nice house with lots of decoration. And there is some Islamic carvings that kind of like the decorative. I don't like the colouring scheme though. I don't like the colouring scheme of the tile of Moroccan tiles. I don't like that. My mum does. I'm really not a fan of the Moroccan style tiles. But I don't know, if you think it's beautiful because of the tiling or whatever, fine, but the tiling doesn't really, I don't think there's anything in Islam specifically about the style of tiles that you might have, and therefore to link Islam with beauty, I just think you're just getting a false perspective of what Islam actually is, because Islam is a set of beliefs and rules and principles that a lot of Islamic countries might not even follow, might not even encourage. So yeah.